Today on Country Music News International, we're going to talk with Heath Wright. He is a member of the ACM award-winning 90s country vocal group, a super group called Ricochet. He's got some big news to tell us all about. A brand new full-length album called Then and Now. It's going to be releasing August the 18th. Heath, it's great to have you on CMI.
Oh, Big Al, it's a pleasure being here with you, my friend. Are you where are you guys located right now?
Well, the magazine's in Germany. I'm all the way over here in the mountains of Virginia.
Seriously,
Yeah.
Virginia scares me a little bit. Virginia, West Virginia. I need to be able to see out around me. I must have been an outlaw in a previous life.
What are you a Texan? Are you down in Texas or Oklahoma, or where are you at?
I'm in Oklahoma. I'm living on the ranch that I grew up on. I spent 15 years in Nashville, so I did my time there, and I came back home in 2008. So yeah, I'm at the Rockin W Ranch in Eastern Oklahoma.
I've been to Oklahoma so many times. Love the people down there. Love the open space. Just another great state in the United States of America. Oh, all the tales I could tell, and I bet you too in Oklahoma.
You know it, bro. It's outlaw country, Indian and outlaw country.
Yeah, yeah, I remember going through there many times late at night in the truck or bus or wherever I'm going, and just looking at all the lights. Of course, a little different here in the great state of Virginia. You need to come on down though, because I can take you around and introduce you to some pretty interesting guys.
Oh, I bet so. Like I said, I've been to Virginia many, many times, and every time I'm there, somebody hands me a mason jar full of this clear liquid, and says, "You got to try this. It's the best you'll ever had." And every time they're right. They're right. It is the best I've ever had.
It is, yeah. Not too far from my location right now. I can take you to two or three different places. We can fix you and the boys up.
Well, it's going to have to be late at night after the show's over, because that stuff will put you down, put you down for the night.
A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, it'll put you down. You don't even know that you're down until you're laying there on the ground and you're all numb. So we'll try one of those maybe one of these days.
All right, it's a deal.
So the new album coming out August the 18th, Then and Now. But I've got to mention this before we even get started here with the album. Back in the 90s, I mean, the greatest vocals, my Lord, I ever heard in my entire life. But I'm going to compare you to two popular things in the 90s, which the kids that wasn't born in the 90s really won't know about. But Furbies and the AOL on computer. You remember how slow that connection used to be on computer back on AOL?
Brother, I am still rocking the AOL email address. People laugh at me when I give them my email address. It's like, really, AOL? I said, well, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. So yes, I loved it because they tell you. I mean, they tell you when you got mail, you've got mail. Yeah. There you go. Now you know. So
there's so many things that we could talk about, Heath, but I guess we better really get down to the business here, because this is a fantastic album. Once again, it's called Then and Now, releasing August the 18th. I'm going to just review it real quick, about 10 seconds. It's fabulous. And what I think is historical about this album is if you go back and listen to the music of then, and you pull up this music on the album of now, your vocals, I mean, are pristine. I mean, we change over time and years, but you all haven't changed a bit. That's what is so historic about this album. Tell us about the album.
Well, thank you. There came a time in my career about the year 2000. Actually, it took me a little while to learn. Nashville was pretty much, I tell it like this: Nashville was done with me before I was done with Nashville. So it took me a little while to realize that I could come home. I could come home to Oklahoma. 2008, I moved back home to my ranch here in Oklahoma, and I was resigned to the fact that I was just going to live here and be a cattleman like my dad was, and maybe go out on the weekends and play my little country music show and do a few county fairs in the summer months and a bunch of casinos. Here in Oklahoma, you can't sling a dead cat without hitting 3 Indian casinos. They're everywhere. So I mean, but I was resigned to the fact that was going to be my life, and I was just going to deal with it. And I'd had my run, and I was pleased. But then the pandemic hit in 2020, and had a lot of time to sit around. And there's only so much cow work you can do. Only so many fences you can mend when you're living on a ranch, and you ain't got shows to go play. So I got kind of bored, and I got to thinking, a few months prior to that, I'd had a call from a guy named Josh Blight, and he has a management company along with his partner Kirk Webster, a management company called Spinning Plates Management. And he had called and offered to represent me and the guys, and I turned him down. I said, "No, I don't need management anymore. I'm just going to live here in Oklahoma the rest of my life. I'm just going to play my little county fairs, and that's my life." And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, maybe I have some more to say. Maybe there's more I want to do in this industry before I decide to take up the rocking chair. So I called him back and I said, "Look, if you're still interested in taking a meeting with me, let's get together and chat." I got on a plane and flew out to Nashville. He and his partner met with me at a Cracker Barrel there in Nashville, and we sat and talked. And they said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I want to play the Grand Ole Opry more often. I haven't played it in over 20 years. I want another record deal. I've got new music I want to put out. I've got, I want to start writing again and maybe start get more well known as a songwriter." I just had a laundry list of things that I wanted to accomplish before I decided to retire. And he said, "Well, I think we can do those things." So they made a list and they started knocking them out. And in less than a year, I had a new record deal. I had this new project getting ready to be released, and Opry dates on the books, a whole tour schedule of fairs and festivals, big multi-artist shows. I just can't believe I'm 56 years old and I got a new project to talk about. It's awesome, Big Al. I'm so pleased. I'm so honored to still be part of country music. It's a part now that 90, and I guess we hit it just at the right time, because 90s country music. Sorry about that. I should have all this stuff turned off. But the 90s country music is coming back with a vengeance. I mean, it's coming. It's got a huge resurgence behind it right now, and I love it. I love the fact we're going out and doing a bunch of fairs and festivals this summer, and some of my favorite country artists are on these fairs and festivals. We're getting ready to do a show with Sarah Evans. We worked with her back in February at a festival in Florida, and just some great singers that are still out there that are that you might have forgotten about, but get out to a show and come check them out, because we're still out there. We're still singing. We're still turning our guitars up to 11 and bringing country music to people.
Well, this album, I had to go through it, and I'm going to say I was surprised, because like I just said a few moments ago, people change over the years. But the only thing that I see that you all have done with this, of course, you've got songs on here like Daddy's Money. Oh my gosh, that's such a great song. And then Seven Bridges Road, the great vocals on that. But the new music that you have on here is still in line with the 90s. You've just updated maybe some of the music production, but those vocals are so pristine. And that is the Ricochet I remember. And I know all your great fans from the past is going to remember. And I can't wait to see what the new people that's going to be turned on to Ricochet. We're talking with Heath Wright right here on Country Music News International. Then and Now, full-length album releasing August the 18th. Now, let me mention this here. Let me see if I get this right. So the morning of August the 18th, from what they told me, you're going to try to get maybe a song from the album somewhere played all over the country at about 9 a.m. It's going to be a premiere. So why don't we just go ahead and tell the listeners and the readers right now to either call the radio station, Sirius Satellite, or maybe their favorite internet radio station, email them and tell them to request a song from this album, 9 a.m. on August 18th. How's that sound?
I like it. And, it could just be your favorite song. You can go on some of the DSPs right now, the digital service providers like iTunes and Spotify and Pandora, and you can kind of sample the album. We've released a few songs. The entire project's not available just yet on the DSPs, but you can sample one or two songs off of it right now. We went ahead and put Daddy's Money out there so that people would be able to hear what some of the old songs sound like with their new facelifts. And but we also we're putting out a few new things here and there. So as you mentioned, this it's a then and now project. So it's a hits and more type thing. It's 16 songs, 6 of which are new recordings of the old hits, and 10 brand new songs that the people haven't had a chance to hear yet. So we're very excited about it. And honestly, 9 a.m. August 18th, do it. If you have to, like me, I'm not really a morning person. Set an alarm. Get up and call your favorite radio station or request it on your favorite XM station, and before then, go out and check out a few of the tunes on iTunes or wherever you like to download your music, and pick out a favorite.
Has it really been 30 years that you all have been together? Is it been that long?
Well, it's been almost 30 years. I moved to Nashville on May 18th, 1993 to join a band called Lariat. And Lariat went through some changes. We ended up having to change our name. We rebuild the band. That's a very long story about why we had to change the name, but truthfully, it was a blessing in disguise for us because I got to rebuild the band exactly how I wanted it. And I wanted a band that would have big vocal harmonies. I grew up listening to bands like Restless Heart and the Eagles, and I love that West Coast style harmony where you've got two vocals above the lead and two vocals below the lead vocal, and they all blend together in such a beautiful, beautiful sound, and that was my thing. But I also wanted a band that was, unmistakably country. So hired a steel guitar player. We already had a fiddle player, so fiddle and steel. I mean, you don't get much more country than that. And I'm pleased to say that I played some of my favorite solos on this new project, my favorite guitar solos. And that's something that you don't really hear a whole lot of in country music these days, is guitar solos, or solos at all for that matter. That sort of is something that's sort of gone by the wayside, is the great instrumental breaks that the 90s country music artists are known for. Imagine a Diamond Rio record with that great Jimmy Olander Bender guitar, or those mandolin licks from Gene Johnson. Imagine a Restless Heart record without those blazing guitar solos that Greg Jennings used to play, or even Eagles. And I always thought the Eagles were a country band. You can sing along with their guitar solos. Those guitar solos are so melodic that you can actually sing along. That's part of the song. You don't want to hear a bar band attempt an Eagles song, and imagine Hotel California without that great guitar stuff. It just wouldn't be the same if they're just jamming. If they're not playing those notes, those solos note for note, then it's not the same song.
Well, the only thing I can say to all this, what you just said, is when you say the word Ricochet and you talking about the band of the 90s, you're talking about the band of right now. I mean, you all are just absolutely on the money. And I do want to mention too, I read you're going to have like a limited 250 vinyl copies of this new album that you're going to sell.
I just found that out today. It's a limited edition. Vinyl's coming back around, and my son, for my birthday last year, bought me a new turntable and some really nice speakers and a nice amplifier to drive it with. And so it's I can't wait to hear this stuff on vinyl. I've never heard my music on vinyl before. I don't think Columbia ever did that, because it was the day and age of digital, and CDs were the thing back then, and then it went to downloads. And so, music, the sound, the sonic quality of music suffered a little when they went to downloads, because they had to compress it and get rid of some of the frequency. They couldn't, it wasn't as big of a sound. So, but I love vinyl. I'm kind of rebuilding my vinyl collection right now, since my son bought me a turntable, and I can't wait to hear my own music on vinyl. Never have. Be a first for me.
That's going to be amazing. I doubt if we'll ever get together, but if we ever do, I'll get you in my garage and I'll show you the vinyl collection I got, because you'll love it. We'll mix them up and see who's got what. But anyway, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll try to get something accomplished here. Heath Wright is with us on Country Music News International. The band Ricochet, the album Then and Now. It's going to release August the 18th. Get up at 9 a.m. and ask your favorite media source that you want to hear a song from Ricochet. Anything else that you would like to talk about? What would you like to tell our readers and listeners? We'll finish with that.
Well, I don't think you've really experienced Ricochet unless you've seen a live show. And our calendar is starting to fill up. So if you go to ricochetonline.com, don't forget the online part. That's important. ricochetonline.com. And not everybody knows how to spell Ricochet. We're besides Shenandoah, we're the most misspelled band in country music. So, but it's RICOCHET. Ricochetonline.com. Check out our tour schedule. Come to a Ricochet show, because we're going to play the hits that you remember. We're going to play some new stuff off this new album, and we're going to hit you with a few surprises that you're not expecting. And at the end of the show, we'd like to go out front and sign autographs for everybody and just meet our fans. And we like to thank them, because if it weren't for them, then we wouldn't still be able to do this 30 years later. I mean, I've lived such a blessed life, Big Al, and it's because of the fans of country music, people like you that are putting our music out there. I just want to say thanks to everyone.
Well, you're certainly welcome, and I know all the millions of people that's going to hear this album is going to thank you 100 times over. The album Then and Now, releasing August the 18th. When you hear Ricochet, it's the Ricochet from the 90s, and it's the Ricochet in the present. Heath, thank you so much for being on Country Music News International.
My pleasure. Thank you, Big Al.